Hey everyone, Anthony here with 5 and 2 Ministries with your daily bread. The Bible teaches us in James that if we draw near to God, that he will draw near to us. So how do we draw near? David gives us an example of that in Psalms 139:23-24, which says, "Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." This is a prayer for God to reveal any barriers between us and him so that we can grow closer to him. In these verses, David invites God to search and know his heart. He's demonstrating his willingness to be transparent before God, acknowledging that he sees and understands everything about us, even our deepest thoughts and motivations. David asks God to test him and know his anxious thoughts, revealing a desire for self-awareness and a recognition of the tendency for human hearts to harbor anxiety, fear, or other negative emotions that can distance us from God. David then asks God to identify any offensive or sinful ways within him. This shows humility and an acknowledgement of personal weakness or areas where he may be straying from God's ways. It's an admission that we often have blind spots to our own faults and need God's illumination to recognize and address them. Finally, he asks to be led in the way everlasting. This is a plea for God to guide him on the path of righteousness and eternal life. It reflects a longing for spiritual growth and a commitment to follow God's will, even if it requires correction or change. The lesson is about importance of humility, self-reflection, and surrender in our relationships with God. These verses encourage us to invite God into our deepest parts of our being, trusting him to reveal any barriers or sins that hinder our connection with him. By submitting ourselves to his examination and guidance, we open the door to transformation and the fulfillment of his eternal purpose for our lives. As believers, we should regularly engage in self-examination and prayerfully invite God to search our hearts. This involves being honest about our struggles, weaknesses, and areas of sin, and trusting God to lead us into greater conformity to Christ's likeness. By aligning our hearts with God's purpose and relying on his grace, we can experience true spiritual growth and intimacy with our Creator. Let's encourage one another to embrace humility, engage in self-examination, and surrender to God's guidance, knowing that through this journey we can experience true spiritual growth and intimacy with our Creator. Thanks for listening, and have a blessed day.